Hey everybody, and welcome back. And we're going to continue our series on places to park overnight or to camp overnight. And probably this is my least favorite option, and that is stealth camping. And so let's start off with the word stealth, and that basically means a cautious or surreptitious movement or action that you may take. So basically you don't want to get caught doing something. You've got stealth bombers, things like that. But in the nomad community, particularly the van life community, stealth camping sometimes is the only option that you have. The Walmarts don't help you out. There's no camping anywhere around. You're in a city. Usually it's based on a city or an urban area versus out on BLM land or dispersed camping land, national parks, things like that. So I want to talk a little bit about it and why do you stealth camp? And I don't know anyone who says, I love it, I'm going to buy a van and just stealth camp because I just love the chances of being woken up at 1 o'clock in the morning with the pounding of the police, or maybe being robbed, or any of these things. Nobody really does that I know of. If you do, please let us know below. We'd like to know exactly why you really enjoy that. But no, there are no other options available for you for that evening. Or because of what you're doing. The other reason people do it, and it ties into that again, is that you're an urban dweller. You are a city life person. You decided to live in your vehicle, and yet you don't want to pay the $1,000 a month for a flat or an apartment, a one bedroom or a studio or whatever, and you want to put that money into your bank versus in a landlord's hand. Yet you work a regular day job. You might have a gym membership or other things that you do and friends, but at night you're going to sleep in your vehicle. That would be another reason. The most common reason that people stealth camp, like for us when we have to do it, is when we have to go into a town. Generally, Marvy and I would prefer to be out in nature than to hang out in a city. Crime's higher in the city. There's more chances for vandalism or being robbed or being woken up by the police, the noise, the traffic, the lights. There's not a lot of reasons we would want to really camp in a town. However, if we have a van repair, if we have some doctor's appointments, if we have we want to do shopping and it's going to be too late after we get our supplies, to head back out. So those are the reasons that most people are going to stealth camp. And again, the number one reason before all of those to happen is generally you don't have any other options. Okay. Yeah, before we go any further, let's talk about stealth camping. Now, so many people talk about the police and doing their van so that the police don't know who they are, and some of them will do these elaborate things with their van where they make it look like they say buy a ladder and put it on top, get only a white van, and do all of these things. And if it's to avoid police, I've got a secret for you. The police know. About 9 out of 10 times they know whether you're in the vehicle or not, or they at least know that that vehicle isn't normally there. Remember, vehicles, I mean, police drive the same areas, 6 days a week, 5 days a week, and they get to know just about every vehicle and everything unusual in most places, and we will get to that. So just get out of here with that idea that you're tricking the police. Generally, if you get a knock on the door by the police, they're either A, concerned about you. For many of us that are year-round, if it's 5 degrees out, they're concerned about you. But the number one reason people call or police come to you is that somebody calls it in. You are parked in like a high-tone neighborhood, a very fancy neighborhood, and somebody doesn't like your vehicle, and so they call the police. And I would say 9 times out of 10, at least for us, when we get that knock on the door, someone has called it in. So what happens when the police stop you? Again, a lot of the times it's just to make sure you're okay. The next way is because they want you to move along. They've got a complaint. That person complaining is probably right, and that's why the police are there. And then you have to be ready to move along. So don't argue with the police, and unless you absolutely know the facts, don't argue. Don't try to get it on video and demand that according to article such and such of the Constitution, you have the right. I've seen a lot of those videos where people decide to make a video to argue with law enforcement, and they were wrong and they ended up going to jail. So unless you're an attorney or you really understand, you know, the Constitution, federal, state, and local laws, I would just kind of move along. Just kind of like, yeah, we'll go ahead and go. So the next thing is, if you're not going to absolutely fool someone, you want to be as low key as possible. So if somebody is just kind of looking around, you don't stick out like a sore thumb. Okay, so the number one, I would have to say the number one best stealth vehicle, if you're looking to do this lifestyle, a nomadic lifestyle, and you're going to be doing a lot of stealth stuff, it's all going to be a compromise. Obviously, a Class A motorhome is going to give you a lot of comfort, but again, you're sticking out like a sore thumb. So, you know, to give up the most amount of comfort but be the most stealthy would be a vehicle like a station wagon or a SUV or some kind of a vehicle like that. Even a minivan is going to give you that blending in, just simply because that's a majority of vehicles on the road, and it's hard to tell one from the other. And of course, you can put blankets and everything on the windshields, but it's better to have as many windows tinted as possible and leave that like it is. So that being said, definitely a regular car, or small at the most, a minivan would be the best as far as blending in. The next one would be vans. And again, like what we have a white cargo van. Those blend in quite well. There's so many of them that that people use commercially. So commercial work van. And again, those are going to stick out. It's just no doubt about it. So, but if you keep it clean and nice looking, generally you aren't going to raise too much suspicion. Again, some people put work ladders on top and maybe magnets on magnetic signs, you know, you know, Joe's Plumbing, or investigated analysis of radioaction, or blah, 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 whatever. But generally, that's not going to change the thing if somebody doesn't like you in their neighborhood and complaining. Finally, you've got your regular RVs, your Class A's, your B's, and C's. Again, no one's fooling anyone. They know you're inside, but that would be it. And of course, the last one would be motorcycles. If you sleep on your sissy bar at night, people know you're camping. Okay, so now we get to the point where you've got your vehicle, and what do you do? What do you do, and how do you stealth camp? And the first one is, no matter where you're going to spend the night, and we'll talk about where in a minute, you definitely want to arrive late, and then you leave early. And if people have been watching YouTube videos, you'll hear a lot of people who talk about stealth camping. That's kind of the golden rule. What I would do is you would want to scope out the area first. So what Marvy and I do is, if we can't find a place to sleep, we will scope out, actually, and I'll get to this, scope out 2 places that are possible. And don't plan on going there till 10 o'clock at night or 11. Again, you're not camping there, you're just surviving, you're just sleeping. So, you know, scope out one place. But another important thing is, in case you get kicked out of that place, you don't want to at 2 in the morning kind of like, oh, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? So if possible, be thinking about another place if you don't actually have the time to find another place. So you found your place, wherever it's going to be, leave. Say it's 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, or 6 o'clock. Go to a Walmart, go to a parking lot, a commercial area, go to a park, whatever. Cook dinner, relax, hang out, watch a movie or whatever. And when you're ready to go to bed, if you're by yourself, great. If you're with someone else, have them and you get all ready for bed, all washed up and cleaned up, and then get to that place you're going to park, and turn off the engine and climb into bed and go to sleep. Get up super early in the morning and leave. And then once you get out, then you can change your clothes and have breakfast or whatever outside of a Starbucks or a McDonald's or wherever. But try not to have any impact in that area, okay? Number 2, do not repeat the same place. Even though it looks really great, people will start, maybe some neighbor will say, oh, there, it's just parked there that night. But if they start to see it more than once, it's a hassle. Keep things clean and very quiet. Don't go outside at night to pee in the neighborhood. Don't empty your if you have pee bottles, don't dump those. Don't leave any trash out. Common sense for most of us, but you'd be surprised how many people do things like that. And remember, when you choose a place, see if it's going to be level. Don't just look at it's under a tree, not directly in front of a house. Perfect, because that road could be sitting like that. So you want to kind of take those things into consideration, and be aware, just when people call the police, they're just not like us. They just don't understand. They're territorial. They don't want you on their property. So okay, so where to park, and this is an important one. So where do you park when you're stealth camping? Well, again, remember, you've checked out the Walmarts and the box stores and the Cracker Barrels, and there's no truck stops, and there's no rest areas nearby, and you just got to find a place. Where are you going to park? Well, first of all, you want to avoid really, like I said, rich neighborhoods or gated communities. I don't know how you can get in a gated community, but maybe sometimes you think if you follow another car in and it's a gated apartment complex or a gated community, again, big no-no. Half the time, or most of the time, they have security, and they also recognize cars, so you're just asking for big trouble with that. I avoid low-income areas. Now, I are low income, but it's still low-income areas have a tendency to have a much higher crime rate, and it's just not as safe of a neighborhood as you might want to think. And also, like I said, if you're going to find a nice neighborhood or just an older neighborhood that's just perfect for you, great. Those are great. Don't park in front of someone's house, okay? I know house, but sometimes there may be a lot or vacant, or before you get to the street corner or something like that. It's going to be trial and error, and you just got to try it. But those are great areas. Now, my favorite places are 2 of them, and one would be semi-busy streets that may have a street sign, and you got to pay attention to the street sign. No parking kind of means no parking 24/7. I look for the signs that say no parking between the hours of 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. or whatever, because then the police usually don't care that much if there's cars there overnight, and usually people will come in and start parking there around 9 o'clock, and you can park there. It's semi-busy, so you're going to have some noise, but it's much safer, and nobody really cares on those semi-private streets. The other place that I absolutely love, and I don't recommend anyone doing this, and it's not a great thing, but if you're desperate and you're tired and you need a place and there's no place else to go and you're just trying to survive, are auto repair shops. And again, remember, you're scoping them out earlier and you're coming back after they're closed and after they're done. And the reason they're so great is that they have different cars there all the time. So the police don't know one car from the next, because a lot of people drop off their cars at night and then leave them because these guys come in and start working pretty early in the morning. And so usually you can find one of those, park into between a couple other cars, a little bit back if you can, to be out of the way, go to bed, follow all of the same rules, but then get out of there, I would say before 5:30 in the morning, because these people get to work pretty early in the morning. But I have found, as far as worrying about the police or anyone else calling on you, if you follow these rules, stay really quiet, go in and just sleep. I've never been bothered at a auto repair shop. That being said, the next time I do it, I'm sure that the owner will be coming home from a bar at night and not recognize the vehicle. Some people say, well, you know, if you get pulled over by the police while there, or the owner, you can say, oh, I was having some engine trouble and I just wanted to catch you guys in the morning, so I got here just to sleep, so as soon as you opened I could have you look at my vehicle. Just be ready to pay for a troubleshooting session if they say that's okay. Okay, I think that's about it. The other thing is, the most important thing about stealth camping is safety. And I'm going to wrap everything up here. Always have a plan, especially like I said, when you get ready to leave. If you get kicked out of a site, you know, 2 in the morning, if you're wearing just underwear and the t-shirt, ladies, that's probably not the best thing to jump out of bed if there's an emergency. If people have got a couple teens pounding on you, harassing you, or the police are there flashing their lights in the windshield. So I think those nights that you need to stealth camp, wear something that sweatpants or something that if you had to get out and talk to the police for 10 minutes or you had to get out of there, it would be comfortable for you to do that. Always have your keys ready. Always get in the habit of either having the keys, maybe not in the ignition, but very close, and use the same place every night to put your keys. Because when something happens and you're panicking and you need to look for your keys, not good. Okay? Don't open your door. I don't care who it is. You can go to the front seat and sit down and roll it down until you can see the officer identifying himself. At the same time, you have your keys with you in case you need to take away. And finally, along with your keys, please have your identification ready. Remember, if you get stopped, they're going to want to see your ID. So if you have to dig for it, it wastes their time. They may get more annoyed, especially if it's cold and raining. The longer you're in the back searching for your stuff, the more nervous they get. Remember, a cop's nightmare is to have to walk up to a van at 2 in the morning. You don't know who's in there and what they're doing in there. So be polite, be nice, have a backup plan, do all those safety things, pick a spot ahead of time, then show up late, and then you shouldn't have too much trouble with that. Again, some of these people who live and work in cities have lived for multiple years in their vehicle, and it seems to work out good for them. So if you need to do it just for 1 or 2 nights, it's not the end of the world, okay? So if you have any experience with this, whether you agree or disagree, write your comments down below. Again, give us a thumbs up if you like us. We really appreciate that. Hit subscribe. And other than that, we will see you down the road.